So again, good afternoon as we're back out at Bosse Field for the 1991 semi-state, the game to get into the championship, which we'll see at 6 o'clock tonight on TV52.
And it should be a battle of the cats. We've got Wrights Panthers and for Wildcats. Wrights is on a roll. Jasper is on a roll. They had a 8-8 record. They found out they had an ineligible player, so they had to forfeit their 8 games. Really started 0-16, have won 15 in a row, and they look pretty tough up in their regional.
On the hill for the Wrights Panthers, the great Mike Fetcher.
Well, Fetch, we've seen him a couple times this year on TV. We know he's a good pitcher. He's got the big numbers as far as strikeouts. Also, the low earned run average whenever you look at his numbers. Overall, 3-5, so he has not got a lot of support early in the season. But as we said, Wrights is on a roll. The offense is going. The defense is there. The pitching has been there, so this should be a tough ball game. 20
wins on a season, and to get to this point, you've got to win some good ball games. Luck is involved at times. Wrights has won 12 of their last 15, including last weekend in Rockport, obviously.
Well, they've played some pretty good ball towards the end of the season, and we referred to it earlier in some of our telecasts that if you're going to peak as a ball club, you want to do it towards the end of the season, gearing up for the postseason play. And they put a good sectional together, a great regional. Got a good team here with this semi-state team, but you can't forget about Jasper. They've got Andy Noblet on the mound today. A tough pitcher in his own right, so it should be a battle. Look for a lot of strikeouts here. Hopefully some of these teams can come through with some big hits. Hopefully it's Wrights.
Offensively, big star every game. Bill Hammonds has been hot.
Hammonds has continued to be the power man for this Wrights Panther team. He leads them as far as the overall batting average and the big RBIs. When you look at the numbers, Jasper has a lot more home runs and their RBIs a little bit more than this Wrights ball club, but it seems that Wrights knows when to get the hits at the right times.
Earlier we talked to the head coach of the Wrights Panthers, Steve Johnston. Probably the biggest game in Wrights Panther baseball history, Coach. It's the big one here against Jasper.
Well, Darren, yes, it is. No question about that. That's not what I'm going to tell the kids, though. We're just going to go out again and approach it that we've played well to get to this particular point. We got to keep doing those kind of things that we've done the last 2 weekends, and I'm sure it's a big game, but you know, hopefully the last couple weeks have prepared us for these kind of games, and still, again, it's just another baseball game for these kids. I'm happy for them, and I want them to go out and give me the same kind of effort that they've given us in the last couple weeks of the season, and everything will take care of itself, I think.
I think perhaps the most powerful, well, I guess you can say two, pitching and hitting has been excellent.
It has been come tournament time, yes. I think our pitching has been obviously our strong suit all year, and of course the hitting has just gotten better as the weather's warmed up and kids have gained confidence. Of course, winning helps that, and got kids going to the plate right now confident that they can get the job done and put the bat on the ball, and that makes them a better hitter. And so, yeah, and the nice thing too, we've had a different hero every ball game, and that is a confidence factor 1 through 9 where all the kids going up there feel like they're going to contribute.
Steve, it's been a long week. I know you've been preparing all week for this, one game and hopefully 2.
Well, it's again having the bye in the sectional. This has been kind of our 3rd week of preparation, and we haven't changed anything from that format. The heat's been a factor, I think, no doubt, but I'm sure it's been hot every place else too. So all teams have got the same handicap there as such. Again, we're excited about playing. We've been working baseball camp this week, and our summer league team has started. So we've got to carry on business as usual, I guess, and we're, again, just excited about still playing baseball here in the middle of June.
Got the city of Evansville backing you, Steve. Best of luck.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
And so it's going to be Wrights and Jasper. We take a look at the field, the dimensions of Bosse Field, and maybe the favor of Wrights. They've played here all season long.
Well, when you get a ballpark similar to this with the size out in the alleys and straightaway center field, it's going to be a disadvantage to a team that is not used to playing on this type of field. Jasper is familiar with their field. It's a good field up there. Not quite as big all the way around. The lines are a little bit deeper as far as Jasper's concerned up there at their home park. So it will be interesting the first couple innings to see how Jasper defense is, especially in the outfield.
Earlier on this day, Seymour beat Decatur Central in 14 innings, 4-3. Someone will meet Seymour at 6 o'clock tonight on TV52. Will it be Wrights? Will it be Jasper? We're soon to find out next on TV52. This perhaps the biggest baseball game in Wright's Panther history. Alongside Doug Emick, I'm Darren Smith. We are back out at Bosse Field, and welcome to game number 1 of the 1991 Evansville Semi-State. Later tonight it's the championship game, as spoken of, and of course Seymour will be a tough one in that. As a little while ago, Doug, we saw them win in 14 innings.
It was a little while ago, and it was a long ball game. Over 4 hours, went 14 innings. A really good job by Seymour and also Decatur Central. It was pretty much anybody's game. They both came out excellent pitching. Not a whole lot of base hits. There were 17 between the two teams for 17 innings, so the pitchers were doing their job. Not a real good job defensively, but right now, these two teams here, we'll see how much of that delay will affect these two teams. They were here about 12:30, gearing up for a 1:30 start, and then those extra innings, they were just sitting around waiting for something to happen, and it went 14 innings, so we'll see if that has any effect on either club.
We know about the Wright's Panthers. We have followed them all season long. The last time the Jasper Wildcats were here at Bosse Field was back on April the 9th. Under Terry Gobert, they are 15-16. You know the story about that record. Let's meet the Jasper Wildcats. Jay Hamlin will lead things off, the third baseman. Ryan Siddell is the center fielder. Scott Rowland, the shortstop. Jason Wibbles will bat cleanup. Kevin Werner, the second baseman. Scott Kunkel, the first baseman. And then to round it out, Brent Wiseman, Todd Rowland, and Chris Himsel. That is the Jasper Wildcats starting 9. Doug, you saw them last weekend, and they are tough.
They have put together 15 wins in a row, as I mentioned in the pregame. They had an ineligible player for the first 16 games, so they went 0-16. They were 8-8 prior to that, but they really put 2 big wins together last week up at their own regional. Really got a good ball club. When you look at their numbers overall as a team, they got a good batting average at .313. They also have a lot of power. When you look at the home runs, they've hit 25 total, only 1 for Wright, so that might have an effect on this game today.
Probably everything a baseball game should have. About 2,000 people out here at Bosse Field, or at least that's the way it was about an hour ago during the first game. Mike Fetcher on the hill, as we talked about, just an incredible pitcher.
He has had one heck of a year for Wrights. We mentioned his record, not real impressive, 3-5, an ERA about 2.05. He's worked in 75 innings, allowed 55 hits, 28 runs, 22 of those earned. The big numbers that pop out are his strikeouts in his 75 innings, 106 strikeouts and only 30 walks.
So many baseball games we've covered here on TV52, perhaps the biggest to date. The Wright's Panthers and the Jasper Wildcats. And we're getting set once again to get underway at Bosse Field. Later tonight at 6 o'clock, the championship game. But to get there, here is game number 1 and the first pitch. We are underway at Bosse Field. Strike 1.
And this is the Sweet 16, comparable to the basketball season during the spring. Baseball is the time right here. This is a game that you want to shoot for, and Wrights, as we mentioned earlier, is on a roll. Look for him to come out, try to get ahead on the count as much as possible as far as Mike Fetcher is concerned. Try to get those big numbers and strikeouts up again.
It is so important for Mike Fetcher to come out throwing strong. He tries to strike out the first batter, Jay Hamlin, and succeeds.
Anytime you can get 3 strikes right in a row like that, it's going to limit your number of pitches per inning. Best thing is about 10 numbers of pitches per inning. That way, if you go 7 innings, you go about 70, 75 pitches. Look for him to get ahead on the count. Most of his hitters, you can look at his numbers and see he has excellent control with his pitches.
He continues, and here is Ryan Seidel. He leads the team as far as the batting averages go. .386 coming into this one. Game number 32 in the season for the Jasper Wildcats. And again, Fetcher on top, 0-2.
And the umpires for this semi-state game today, we started out with 4 in the first game. The heat was so much, home plate umpire Stephen Fisher kind of got a little bit drained, so he is not in this game here. Behind the plate, Mike Rust, James Dunlap at first, and also David Cavanaugh down at third.
Little breeze out towards left field. Other than that, your usual muggy June afternoon. And right now, Fetcher perfect. Nothing but strikes. That one last fouled off. 0-2 here. 1 out just away again at Bosse Field. Scheduled, and I say scheduled, for 7.
And Ryan is the big hitter as far as Jasper is concerned. You mentioned his high batting average of .386. Also home runs and RBIs. He's tied for the league, or the team lead, with home runs and also RBIs. 8 home runs, 28 RBIs.
Scott Rowland, one of 2 Rowlands in the lineup for the Jasper Wildcats. One of the local favorites to graduate from Jasper was Todd Croft, standout with the University of Southern Indiana.
And Jasper has always been known to have a strong baseball program, similar to some of the teams down here in Evansville. When you look at a Memorial or a Central or a Harrison, Wrights this year, they really know how to put the big wins together. It seems like they get the key hits when the time is right.
First one to hit, Louis Meredith, the shortstop. Let it go, 6-3. I'll tell you what, last week as I watched this team in Rockport, we watched the team from game one, way back at the beginning of the year against Boonville, Doug, our first look at the Wrights Panthers, and what we said was true. We never expected them to get this far, and then if you really look at it realistically, some of the fans said, well, this is going to be another okay year for the Wrights Panthers, but look at them today.
Well, I can remember in that game, we had a pre-game meeting with Coach Johnston just to see how the early season had gone, and they'd picked up a couple big wins, and then they went up to, I believe it was Pike Central, played a team that really had not had a lot of time on the field practice and got beat, so he was really not sure what to expect from this team, but they've got the senior leadership out there. Anytime you get a pitcher like Fetcher, look for him to be in the game most of the game.
That one just missed, a 1-1 count. That is the first ball thrown by Fetcher. Obviously, we're just underway at Bosse Field. Scott Rowland, the shortstop. First two down. K 6-3 in the 1-1 pitch. Again, it's down low from Fetcher.
And look for the heat to be a factor, too, with both of these pitchers here. We mentioned that they've been out on the fans area into the foul territory up in the stands, just sitting around waiting for that first game to get over. Not so much a factor then, but when you're out there in the sun, especially this time of day, probably the hottest time of the day, and it might have a toll on both pitchers.
Fetcher wants a new baseball. 3-1. The last three offerings have all been down low on that corner.
And Mike really has to use his fastball as one of his good pitches. He needs to come in, get ahead of the count early. That is one of his bread and butter pitches, is his fastball. He's got so much velocity on it. Oki Pryor, the pitching coach, has really worked with him a lot as far as trying to get some movement on that fastball.
Two comeback pitches. On the outside corner, it's 3-2. Two away, top half of the first inning. 3-2 pitch, and he lost him. The first to reach, Scott Rowland. And your cleanup batter, he's a good one, Jason Wibbles.
Jason comes in with a batting average of .328. Power department not as much as some of the guys above him and also below him. 2 home runs and 21 RBIs, but he is one that gets the key hits when they need them. Pretty much 1 through 9, this Jasper team knows how to play these ball games fundamentally, know when to advance a runner when you've got them at first and or second base. Look for Coach Terry Gilbert to use the sacrifice bunt, move those over.
1-0. 3-step lead for Scott Rowland over at first base, so Fetcher will check him back. Charles Gilmore, Corey Lamb, Louis Meredith, Dennis Maynard make up the infield. Todd Hayes behind the plate. Kevin Bullock, Craig Engel, Bill Hammonds, left center and right field. Wrights defensively, 1-0 pitch. They're on the inside.
And it looks like Mike is struggling just a little bit now, finding the strike zone after the 2 successful first batters he faced. And you really can't throw a whole lot of pitches, especially this time of day. We mentioned the heat. It could be a factor. He needs to concentrate more on just getting the ball around the strike zone. See how much danger is in this Jasper lineup here.
We had fun picking our all TV52 teams over the course of a season. 2 members here, Mike Fetcher and Charles Gilmore.
And we talked about Charlie a little bit in the pregame. He has basically been the big power man as far as this Wrights Panthers team is concerned. He is second in the team on hitting, leads them in RBIs. Once again, not a lot of power as far as home runs, but they get the extra base hits, also the timely hits whenever you've got the runners in scoring position.
Maybe just a little bit of concern here as we see another ball delivered by Fetcher. 3-0. Kevin Werner is on deck, and your delivery found the mark. One thing about Fetcher, it's almost like Eugene Pate. He can toy with it for a while and knows he's going to come back.
Well, I think this delay probably will have a factor with both Mike Fetcher and also Andy Noblet from Jasper. They came, they had their game face on ready to go, and then they had to wait and wait and wait.
Let's get out of it rather cheaply. It's very familiar. Fetcher to Gilmore, and 1/2 inning in the book. Who will meet Seymour? Soon to find out. And Wright's coming up offensively for the first time on this afternoon. The 1991 Evansville Semi-State on TV 52. Half in Andy Noblet.
Pretty good record, comes in at 6-1, a 1.63 ERA, which is great for a high school baseball season. Worked in 51 1/3 innings, allowed 43 hits, 13 runs, 12 of those earned, 42 strikeouts, and 13 walks.
The Wrights Panthers 20-12 under Coach Steve Johnston. Kevin Bullock, the left fielder, to lead it off. Then it's Craig Engel playing center. Corey Lamb, the second baseman. Charles Gilmore, so familiar there in the cleanup spot. Bill Hammonds, and what a postseason he has had. He'll bat fifth. Louis Meredith, Todd Hayes, Sean Livers, Dennis Maynard round out the Wrights starting 9.
And Wrights is a team that does not really come out at you early most of the time. It takes them an inning or so, or maybe a time or two at the plate to really figure opposing pitcher is going to try to present as far as his pitches. Come in with a fastball early in the count, or maybe some type of off-speed breaking pitch. Really the job right now of Bullock, he has been there most of the time as far as the leadoff is concerned. We've seen him catch a little bit also in left field. Comes in today's game with a .337 average.
Underway, bottom half of the first inning. And again, the Wrights bats have been explosive. Good job in Rockport. You don't get here by not batting well. 0-2 to Bullock.
When you look at the overall team average for Wrights, .283, but that's kind of a little deceiving because most of the players in the lineup have a 300-plus batting average. When you look down the lineup, Hammonds leads with .379, Gilmore at .363, and then it keeps going down to about .329 with Meredith. Then everybody else is right around that .250 or higher mark, so look for them to get the big base hits when they need them.
Well, you could have hit him on the foot, and it did. Any way you can get a base, you will take it on this particular afternoon.
This will bring up the center fielder Craig Angle. On the season, he is hitting .281. He's picked up a total of 27 hits in 96 plate appearances, 4 doubles, 2 triples, and 16 RBIs.
Defensively for the Jasper Wildcats, again, Andy Noblet, Chris Hemsel is your battery. Scott Kunkel is at first base. Kevin Werner at second, Scott Rowland at short, and Jay Hamlin down at third. Jason Wibbles, Ryan Siddell, and Todd Rowland left, center, and right field. Angler with one on. Bullock goes, hit and run on. It is popped up, and this could be trouble, you betcha.
A good idea by Coach Steve Johnston and Rice, trying to advance the runner Bullock from first to second. Just a poor bunt by Angle. You want to get it down the line, either the first base or the third base line, make those corner people come in and field it, but the pitch was just a little bit up in the zone. Went to bunt it and popped it right up to the pitcher, Noblet.
Here is Corey Lamb, the second baseman. So all of a sudden, 2 away. Bottom half of the first inning. And the Wrights to play the Seymour Owls.
And right there we saw a breaking pitch from Noblet, so he is kind of fooling the Wrights hitters right now. Instead of coming in with a certain pitch every first pitch of the count, look for him to come in with an off-speed pitch, then maybe the next batter or two come in with a fastball. Now he's worked the count to 0-2.
You knew Noblet was going to be tough. He got a 1.63 ERA and 6-1 on the season. 0-2 here to Lamb. And it got away from him, and I'm noticing Noblet will come out strong on the first 2 and play with that third one, Doug.
That's the advantage that you have whenever you get ahead of the count like that. If you're ahead 0-2, you can really go out of the strike zone, either outside, inside, up, or down. Make these Wrights Panther hitters go for something out of the strike zone.
Looked a bit outside, but Corey Lamb will go down looking, and it's 1 inning in the book from Bosse Field. The Wrights Panthers and the Jasper Wildcats, and it continues on TV52 after this timeout. Bosse Field alongside Doug Emick. I'm Darren Smith. Top half of the second inning, of course, scheduled for 7. In a scoreless first, and we saw some pitching, not bad, but looking at the 2 aces of the staff, Doug Emick.
Anytime you get into a champion semi-state, you're in the semifinals, you're going to have 2 games if you're a winner. Most of the time you're going to have 1 or 2 good pitchers that you can rely on. You can have 1 go the first game and then 1 come back the second. In this postseason tournament, each pitcher is allowed 10 innings of work. And also, if you throw 1 pitch in an inning, it's not like Major League Baseball. 1 pitch considers 1 inning. It is not a third innings, 2/3, 3/3.
This is Kevin Werner. Big strike one, the second baseman, Scott Kunkel, and Brent Wiseman, the DH. Due up here in the top half of the second. Again, Rowland and Hemsel will round it out for the Jasper Wildcats. Big cut.
Werner is the number 2 hitter as far as average on the team. Comes in at .376, 32 hits and 85 at bats, 6 doubles, a triple, 2 home runs, and 19 RBIs.
0-2. And Fetcher looking for strikeout number 2. Plays with that one. It's 1-2 here to Werner.
And you're going to see that out of both pitchers. Whenever they get ahead of the count, they're good enough to know they can waste a pitch, maybe even 2, and come back and still get a good third strike.
Talk about the advantage about Bosse Field, and well, you got to call it Wrights' home ballpark, especially in this tournament. Jasper played here very well against Central in a game you and I saw, Doug, back in April.
Well, the field will be a little bit of trouble early in the game for any team that is coming in not used to it. We saw a little bit of problem with the sun factor and also the foul ball territory, as we usually do. If a team comes in not used to this field, the ball hits over in foul territory, it's going to come back towards the field, and we saw 3 or 4 in that first game that could have been caught that were dropped.
Werner strikes out. Here's Scott Kunkel, the first baseman.
Scott on the season at 271. Overall, he's got 19 hits and 70 at-bats, a couple doubles, a triple, and 14 RBIs.
So Fetcher starting out this inning like the first, striking out the first batter. He had Hamlin earlier. And starts again. Nothing at 1 here. And just a wild pitch here by Fetcher. He said his arm was a bit sore coming into this one. Took a couple days off at the beginning of the week. Pitched in an inter-squad game on Wednesday. And said he was gung-ho and ready.
Well, you can bet that anybody involved in either one of these teams, if there's any possible way of being in that lineup out there, this is really a once-in-a-chance lifetime thing to where you get to play in a semi-state game in your high school career. They're going to be out there if possible.
Got him! 3 strikeouts now for Fetcher. And he did a good job of the SIAC this year.
As far as strikeouts, he was the #1 man. We talked about his record, and he was a little bit disappointed, but the team came together when they needed to early in the season, pitched good games, just not a lot of run production. I think both Coach Johnson and the entire team were just kind of experimenting, trying to figure out what exactly type of team they had. It seemed like they were in some ball games that they shouldn't have been. They were in some games that they should have been in that they weren't in. So it's once you go through a long season like that, you're going to have spells to where sometimes you play good and sometimes you don't.
After losing to Memorial, 12 of the last 15. Wrights has picked up, as we talked about also at the top of the telecast. And that is good news. 1-1 pitch, a bit high. The DH Wiseman. First 2 via K, gone. The end of a breeze is going to help. We saw a home run out here earlier on this day in game #1 involving Decatur Central and Seymour.
And I don't know that the fans are ready for another game like that.
Holy smokes.
Seemed like nobody wanted to win it. There was a couple opportunities when the situations were presented, maybe a hit and run or a sacrifice bunt, move the runners over in a scoring position.
How about that? Mike Fetcher up to his old tricks. This time, he strikes out the side. 1 1/2 in the book. And we're coming back for more at Bosse Field after this timeout. Charles Gilmore, Bill Hammonds, Louis Meredith. Let's go down to Todd Hayes. Livers and Maynard to round it out. Bottom half of the second inning. And Gilmore takes a look at strike 1 from Andy Noblet.
As we mentioned earlier, Charles Gilmore at 363 leads his team in RBIs with 28. He's picked up 32 hits and 88 plate appearances, 8 doubles to go along with those RBIs. One of the big power men as far as Coach Johnson and these Wrights Panthers are concerned. He's been there year in, year out, having a good final year here for Wrights, and he has really come through with some big hits this season.
One of Evansville's best examples of the student athlete, an outstanding athlete here at Wrights. We also saw him play basketball, and he is just an honor student.
And this is a part of the lineup that Wrights really expects to do some damage against this Jasper team with.
Gilmore goes down looking. That is the second backwards K in a row. Lamb entered the first that way, and here is Bill Hammonds.
Bill at 379 leads this Wrights Panther team as far as the batting average is concerned. 30 hits and 79 at bats, 6 doubles, 2 triples, and 17 RBIs.
Probably the hottest bat right now for the Wrights Panthers when it really counts. He takes a big cut and an inside pitch, strike 1.
And just a little bit anxious right there. That ball was up and in, out of the strike zone. But when you get into a situation like this, you want to prepare yourself so much to look for a certain type of pitch in your wheelhouse. And if you don't have enough posture and concern with yourself, able to control that swing, if you see a pitch that's out of the strike zone, hold back on that swing, you're going to find yourself in trouble.
Well, but looking for his 3rd strikeout in a row. Here he has Hammonds 0-2. Are we going to see a pitcher's duel? After one of the longer games of the season out here at Bosse Field, you people who are out here saw that one. Another backwards K.
Well, so far, Andy is really fooling these Wrights hitters. He's got 3 in a row via the K, all looking. So he is working his assortment of pitches to his advantage right now. It'll bring up the shortstop Louis Meredith at 329 on the season, 30 hits and 91 at bats, a pair of doubles and triples, and 21 RBIs.
Todd Hayes moves to the on-deck circle, but again, there's 2 away. And we take a look at ball 1. They were chanting Lou, Lou last weekend in Rockport. Some people think those were boos, but they weren't.
Both of these teams are really on a roll right now. We've talked about both of them having their winning streaks. Wright's 12 out of their last 15. Jasper has put together 15 in a row, so you can't really have a favor either one way or the other. Both are continuing to get the big wins, the big hits in the key situations, and once again you get down to the pitching. We look like we're going to have a pitching duel here this afternoon with Fetcher and Noblet.
4 straight balls now from Noblet, sort of like Fetcher earlier in the inning. The Wrights batsman will take it. The second to reach. Bullock was hit by a pitch to begin things. Then a double play and 3 Ks. Todd Hayes, the catcher.
Todd had 238, not really has got on track so much as far as his offense is concerned. His main job is the defense. We saw him in left field. Him and Kevin Bullock have kind of switched places every now and then between the plate area work behind the plate and also in left field. 238 on the season, 25 hits and 105 at-bats. 3 doubles, 2 triples, and 13 RBIs.
Spent some time in the outfield, has found a home as of recent behind the plate. Earlier we were seeing Bullock there. Today, Bullock is in left field.
Well, I think if you look back to last year, I believe Todd caught most of the season for this Wrights ball club, and I think Coach Johnson maybe was just giving him a little different view of how the ball game is played out in left field. Once you're a catcher, you're going to wear your knees and your legs down by squatting every pitch in a 7-inning game. It will make a toll on your season overall. So he's kind of flip-flopped Bullock and Hayes both.
Runner goes, hit and run on. That broke the 5 straight balls delivered by Noblet. Wrights again, 20 and 12. You're going to figure Steve Johnson had some kind of week. This is the first time he's been this far.
Well, this is really the first time the Wrights, this is their first year to win the baseball sectional, so everybody is kind of gun-ho, ready to go, and every win after that is just that much sweeter. Obviously, you don't want to win. You want to try to go all the way if possible, but even if they lose, or when they lose, it will be expected on it. You can't go on and have a season like that.
Bobbling in the outfield, second and third. First hit of the ball game belongs to Todd Hayes.
And that was just a good piece of hitting there by Hayes. Noblet made a little bit of a mistake, got the ball up in the strike zone area. Hayes centered out into left field. Missed play out there by Jason Wibbles. He got the ball down in front of him, and then it kind of caromed off of his glove. He didn't know where it was, so that enabled Hayes to take second, and also the runner from first, Louis Meredith, ends up at third.
Sean Livers has also seen some time in the outfield. Today, he's in the DH role for Fetcher. Dennis Maynard awaits on deck. Right now, the only thing going Jasper's way is there's 2 and out. And that's down low.
Sean on the season at 260 for Wrights. Overall, has picked up 12 hits and 46 at-bats, 2 doubles, and also 9 RBIs. So everybody in this Wrights lineup is capable of coming through with the big hit, especially when runners are in scoring position.
Finding the corner. Livers been up and down all year with the bat. But he and everybody else did very well against Cannleton last weekend in Rockport. That thoughts are going, and it's really not going to hurt you to walk Livers as it would earlier.
No, because you have 2 men out, and also you're down to the bottom of the Wrights lineup. They don't really know what to expect out of this Wrights ball club, not really familiar with them. So even if you do walk the number 8 hitter, you've got an open base in front of him. You have bases loaded, 2 outs, a force out at any base.
2 and 2. And Maynard licking his chops. Would like a shot at it. And Noblet comes again down low. He is not going to give Livers too much.
Well, it's just like we talked about. You do not really have to come into him. You've got a base open at first base. You've got 2 men out, and you're down to the bottom of the Wrights lineup. So if possible, you want to get him here on a ground ball, maybe a strikeout. But if you walk him, it's not that big a deal.
Wrights leaves an all-important 2. Something that was trouble a week ago in Rockport when they took on Princeton. 2 innings in the book here, back at Bosse Field. And we're coming back out after this timeout. We move now to the top half of the 3rd inning alongside Doug Emig. I'm Duran Smith. Our producers this afternoon, Rich Goodman and Todd Suter.
Mr. Hands.
Yeah. We'll also be aboard at 6 o'clock tonight when we bring you the championship game. Seymour And one of the two you see here this afternoon.
And so far it has been a pitching duo. We kind of expected it coming in. Both pitchers have picked up a total of 4 strikeouts. Both got 3 an inning ago. A little different fashion. Mike Fetcher set him down 1, 2, 3. Noblet got the first 2 and then picked up the third one with Sean Livers after issuing a walk and also a base hit.
Todd Rowland, Himzel, and Jay Hanlon we saw earlier.
Todd on the season at 209. He's picked up a total of 9 hits and 43 plate appearances.
Jasper looking for their first hit. 4 strikeouts so far for Fetcher. And that's through the first 7. Not bad. And there is strike 1. Rowland walked, the only flaw thus far.
And I believe as far as Wrights and Jasper is concerned, they want to try to get as many innings out of these 2 pitchers as possible. They've both got some key people in the bullpen, but to get to the championship game, you need an extra arm, even 2 sometimes, so they're going to try to get as many as they can out of these 2.
Trying to get them, and it's past Charles Gilmore. And also, Todd Hayes bobbled down there. Hayes did the right thing by backing up the first baseman, just the fundamentals, but it slipped by him, and now 1 in scoring position with nobody out.
Well, it was a good play by Corey down there. He showed his range. Both he and Meredith were going to the ball. He got past Louis, so Corey was back there. Probably would have been the best thing to do was hold the ball. The ball was hit so slowly and took so many bounces before it got to him. Not really a good chance to get the runner Todd Rowland coming into first base. Went ahead and threw it away, so you credit him with a base hit, also an error on the second baseman. Now Jasper's got a runner at second, nobody out.
So much for a double play also, unless you have another hit and run situation and they can tag out. Himzel now, Chris Himzel the catcher. And then we'll go back on top to Hamlin. Top half of the 3rd inning. Trying to move him up at least, right in front of Hayes, and they go down to first for their only option. And now it becomes dangerous. 90 feet away is Todd Rowland. And you've got your leadoff batter in Jay Hamlin who can knock the ball around.
And that was a pretty good play by Todd behind the plate. That ball almost appeared to be in foul territory. He saw that the batter runner had not really got a good jump out of the box, so he went ahead and fielded it in fair territory. Made a throw down to Charlie at first base, the only play he had. A good play from Jasper, sacrificing the number 9 hitter, moving that runner over to third base where he's just 90 feet away, can score on a wild pitch or a pass ball.
So Fetcher strikes out 4 through 9, and here's one of them. Jay Hamlin, the third baseman, and Siddell on deck. Another strikeout would be very nice.
Pretty good offensive lineup from this Jasper ball club. When you look down the starting 9, really only 2 holes as far as a 270 or better hitter below that. You've got Rowland and Wiseman, both Rowland at 209, Wiseman at 258, but then you go to the top of the order, you go down 347, 386, 333, 328, 376. Powerful offensive lineup. I saw them last week. They really hit the ball, and it's kind of similar to this Wrights ball club. They get the base hits, but it seems like they get them when they need them, when they've got the runners in scoring position.
Looking for the big K. Would be his 5th. He plays with it outside. Don't want to let it get by. Todd Hayes perhaps enjoying his new role behind the plate.
Well, it's familiar territory to him. As I said, he caught most of last year, so it's not like it's something new to him. Most people, especially high school kids, like to be involved with the plays and situations as much as they can, so the catching position is just perfect for Todd.
The 2-1 pitch from Fetcher. Looking for that outside corner, and he did not get it. Give me a break.
Well, Mike is such a good pitcher that he's not really going to worry about stuff like that. He works the count to 3-1 now. He has enough confidence in himself as well as his pitching ability that it's not going to bother him. He's going to come back probably with a strike.
Except for that time. Yeah, runners at the corners. You got 1 out, but now you have a double play option on the field here. And here is Ryan Siddell, who went down 6-3 back in that first inning.
Comes in at 386, as we mentioned earlier, tied for the team lead as home runs and RBIs. 39 hits and 101 at bats, 9 doubles, a triple, 8 home runs, and 28 RBIs.
You hit it in double play territory last time, Siddell, but nobody was on. So just keep him tight over at first. Charles Gilmore doing that. Second walk given up by Mike Fetcher. He walked Scott Rowland earlier, and he's on deck. Waiting the first here to Siddell. Runner goes. It's going to take away from you double play. Second and third, and I don't think he ever thought of going Todd Rowland because that was probably the game plan anyway.
Well, they're just going to try to get another runner in the scoring position and also find out what Wright's strategy is as far as a first and third situation like that. A lot of times you'll see the catcher come up, fake the second, throw it down to third base, or they'll have the pitcher act as a cutoff man. That time they elected to throw all the way through. We saw one of the middle infielders come over, act like he was going to cut it off. The ball went straight through. Really no chance to get him. He got such a good jump, Hamlin did, from first.
A little bit of trouble here. Second and third for Jasper, and just one away. And this one taken down. Nice little scoop. No one's going to move. He caught it. I thought for a moment that it may have hit the ground. And those people who have taped this game can roll it back and see it again.
It was a pretty good play by Lamb, whether he caught it or short hopped it. Either way,
big out.
You can't really tell up here. We did not have a good vantage point. James Dunlap, the umpire down there, was right on it. Either way, he would have got the batter runner at first base, and it was hit so sharply, the runners from second and third did not really have a chance to decide whether they were going to go or whether they were going to stay.
Scott Rowland. Well, you're not going to change your mind after you make that call. Slow roller, Dennis Maynard wants to go to Gilmore, and they get out of it. So like Wrights, they'll leave two, and we move to the bottom half of the third. The 1991 Semi-State on TV 52. Back out at Bosse Field, bottom half of the third inning. A little scare there if you're a Wrights Panther faithful. I thought it was very good that a lot of people came out and backed the Wrights Panthers. Saw several faces from other schools here, and that isn't always expected, but it happens, and it's a show of sportsmanship.
Well, it was a really good job of Rice to get out of that jam. They had runners at second and third, only one out. They got that good play out of Corey Lamb at second base, and then a pretty good play from third baseman Dennis Maynard. He came in, fielded the ball cleanly with his bare hand. Really, the only way he would have had a play was to field it barehanded, all in one motion, throw to first, and he put a lot on the throw. You could tell that he was laying flat on his chest when he ended up throwing it.
Strike one to Maynard.
And we've got a couple changes in the Jasper lineup. Jason Tabor is now in the game for Jason Wibbles. He will move to third base in the number 4 hole. And the third baseman, Jay Hamlin, will move from third base to left field.
Got him looking. Maynard didn't agree.
Well, we knew coming in that this was going to be a battle of pitchers. You can look at their numbers, not so much strikeout-wise from Andy as far as Jasper's concerned versus Mike from Wrights, but they are both successful pitchers. You look at their records, their ERAs, both around that 2 mark or below. So you knew it was going to be a battle of pitchers, and it has turned out to be just that so far.
Foul ball here on the first base side. Kevin Bullock trying to get it started again.
Kevin was hit by a pitch back in the first inning and was forced out at second base. Pitcher to second baseman Kevin Warner back in the first inning.
0-1 here to Bullock. And a bit low here from Nomblett. Both he and Fetcher ran into a little bit of problem. Ran into maybe a 5-pitch slump with the balls. 1-1. On the outside, nabbed it.
Well, when you get into a situation like this afternoon, when you've got such a hot day, it's humid, the sun's out, the number of pitches are going to be a factor as far as each pitcher is concerned. Through the first 2 innings, Andy had thrown a total of 29 pitches. He also picked up 4 strikeouts.
So he continues. That is the 3rd in a row.
Craig Angle, the center fielder, up now, tried to sacrifice bunt situation to where he was trying to move Kevin Bullock up to second base after he was hit by the pitch. Unsuccessful, bunted it right up in the air to Andy Nomblett, the pitcher. He caught the ball and doubled Bullock off back at first.
Take this one down. This could be trouble. Looking for the long throw. It is not in time. And credit the speed of Craig Angle. Now on his way to second. And he'll nab that. Rowland had maybe a a small shot, Doug, but I've got to give him the hit.
Well, it's going to be an infield base hit and an error by the shortstop, similar to the play Corey Lamb had last inning, to where he got to the ball, showed good range to get to it, but he was so far deep in the hole at shortstop, and the speed of Craig Angle enabled him to get down to first so fast. Even if he had fielded the ball and made a good throw, Angle probably would have beat it out. Roland probably should have just held the ball and allowed an infield single.
Other than the couple of errors we've seen out here, it doesn't look like it's going to be a high-scoring ball game.
Well, not with the pitchers that are on the mound right now. Should one of them or either one run into a problem with the heat or fatigue, we might see a little bit run production later, but right now both are in control.
Wrights leads 1, now a total of 3, and we've played 3 out here at Bosse Field, and we're still scoreless. Who will strike first on the scoreboard? Top half of the 4th, Jasper and Wrights still to come on TV 52. It'll be our first look at Jason Tabor offensively as he moves into the 4-hole for Wibbles. No word on why Wibbles was taken out of there. Kevin Werner and Scott Kunkel. So it's batters 4, 5, and 6 for the Jasper Wildcats. We are scoreless, and welcome to inning number 4.
And on the season, Jason Tabor at 225 has not been in a lot of games, only 19 for these Jasper Wildcats. 7 hits and 31 at-bats, has picked up 7 singles. All of his hits have been singles, also scored 2 runs.
Wondering why Wibbles was taken out when your cleanup batter is not there. Something's up.
Well, it could be any number of things, and I'm sure that Jason Wibbles went to head coach Terry Gobert and said, you know, I'm not feeling well or something's bothering me. We have the re-entry rule in the high school level of play, so should he be able to come back, he will be able to re-enter the ball game.
No matter who you root for, you like to see all the kids healthy because this is a very special day for them.
Well, we were talking a little bit earlier about how much it just means to be able to reach this type of achievement as far as a high school player is concerned. The semi-state, there's only 16 teams that are playing in this weekend, and to be part of that Sweet 16 feeling, it's got to feel great.
Again, Fetcher's ahead 0-2. Struck out Hamlin to lead off the first, and Warner to lead off the second. Todd Rowland, who began the third, had a hit and an error. Reached on a hit error. There is another strikeout. Number 5 for Fetcher.
That'll bring up the second baseman, Kevin Warner, a strikeout victim back in the second inning. I mentioned earlier about the number of pitches having a key factor in this ball game today. When you look at Mike Fetcher through his first 3 innings of work, he has constantly gone down a little bit with his pitches. Started out with 18 in the first inning, 15 in the second, and only 11 back in the third.
1-0 here to Warner. This is the part of the lineup, as you mentioned, that Fetcher really likes. And there's another strike. Had a 3-5 record during the regular season, but you look at the ERA and you look at that outstanding strikeout ratio.
And he has really grown as far as the pitching aspect is concerned between his junior year and his senior year. And I think, as I mentioned earlier, you can credit that to Okie Pryor. Having knowledge of how it is to play high school ball, also Division II college baseball like that, he can give him an idea of how to go up there and look at the hitters, what type of pitches to throw certain hitters.
Another strikeout, now half a dozen for Fetcher. And Scott Kunkel, another victim back in the second here up.
And it's going to be a battle of see who between Mike Fetcher and Andy Nabla, which one is going to get the most strikeouts. Right now, both have 6, so look for both of them to be strong. Not throwing a lot of pitches, especially the last couple innings. Both have done a pretty good job as far as getting their location of pitches ahead early in the count.
Wiseman on deck, but again 2 away, and a painful strike. Obviously, it's a lot tougher level of competition in the NCAA. Fetcher right now is unsigned. He's looking at USI, and I don't think he wouldn't mind going to UE either.
Well, I'm sure that probably Coach Brownlee and also Coach Redmond out at USI would like to have Mike. It's just a matter of how he is going to fit into their program.
Right.
You look and see what your pitching staff is like now. Could he come in as a freshman and do a good job, or will it take him a couple years before he really learns how to face Division I, Division II type of hitters? And I think the way Mike has improved between his junior year and his senior year, that just leaves a little bit more there that he can improve between his senior year in high school and his freshman year in college.
Well, you take a look at Castle's Marty Watson, who went to Indiana State, and He didn't fit into the program his first year, but he found a home his second year, and did he ever with the Aces.
Well, he had an exceptional year, as well as most of the Evansville Aces did.
Nothing like striking out the side for 2 times in 4 innings. Not too shabby. That is strikeout number 7. We have played 3 in 1/2, and the Wrights Panthers come to bat again. Bottom half of the 4th next on TV 52. We're still scoreless back out at Bosse Field, bottom half of the 4th inning, and Doug, probably my favorite part of the batting lineup for the Wrights Panthers, Charles Gilmore, Bill Hammonds, and Louis Meredith.
Probably the favorite part of the lineup for any Wrights Panther fan. Charlie was a strikeout victim, got caught looking, 1 of 3 back in the 2nd inning for Noblet on the season at .363.
That one fouled off. Everybody was hitting so well last Saturday night against Candleton. Candleton won that first game against Boonville last week, 10-1, and there was some concern, but there were 2 different ball clubs, Wrights and Candleton. Candleton good and maybe in their bracket.
Candleton, I think, really put together a strong program. A lot of people not really expecting a lot out of the Perry County team up there. You've got Candleton, also Tell City, that they're going to draw from. We got a good look at the Perry County Legion team the other night against Eugene Pate. But they really surprised a lot of people, I think, by the capability of their job of hitting. They really put together some big bats in that win over Boonville, 10-1. Kind of surprised everybody, I think, and then once they got into Wrights, it seemed like it was, like you said, 2 different types of ball clubs. But you can't take much away from the job Scotty Hart did up there. He just had an outstanding game, picked up 15 strikeouts, was really in the control of his game all game long.
Everyone was saying Candleton was the favorite going into that game. There's a couple of members of the press on radio wrapping up their show saying Candleton has got to be the favorite going into tonight's game. It was not the case.
Well, we referred to it a little bit in some of our earlier telecasts that once somebody comes out of the Evansville sectional, more times than not, it's pretty much been a cakewalk for that Evansville team to win the regional, automatically go to the semi-state. But the last few years, the competition around the area has gotten so good, not really comparable with the Evansville programs, but they are kind of where the Evansville programs were 5 and 6 years ago, where they have the 3 and 4 capable hitters, the 1 or 2 good pitchers on a team, really put on a good performance and a good job.
Gilmore will save that one. And a lot of people were talking, especially Memorial, that team could have won the state championship, and they probably have a very good argument there. And what's different from Wrights is they are probably the classic Cinderella story to this point.
Well, with Memorial being ineligible for postseason play, we said it all season long that it was going to be a wide open sectional. It was going to be anybody's sectional to have. Wrights kind of gelled a little bit at the right time. You knew they were going to be there just because of their pitching and their big hitting from the bats of Hammonds and also Gilmore. But you looked at Harrison, you also looked at Central. If there was going to be a favorite, probably one of those 2 teams would have been picked by the press or the media. But it was really anybody's ball game. Mater Dei played a good tournament. They really came out and surprised Harrison early.
Gilmore doing a good job here of getting Noblet to throw some.
And it might not appear to be a whole lot concerned with the fans that are down here watching this. He's fouling the balls off. He's waiting for his pitch to come in. But on a day like today, we've referred to the number of pitches you throw. Coming into this inning, Andy had thrown a total of 37 pitches. So right now, he's already gone the count now to 3 and 2. He's thrown a total of 10 pitches so far to Gilmore, 3 and 2, and also 5 fouls.
So far, it's been a classic ball game. Couple of hits, still scoreless, nail biting. 3-2 pitch. Slow roller. Could be trouble. Takes a weird hop. Let's watch the speed of Gilmore. He's got it.
And that was kind of like a cue ball shot. That went off the end of the bat, kind of had a little English on the ball. As soon as it hit the grass area, it kind of kicked to the left. First baseman coming in, Scott Kunkel, not really which way it was going to go. He was not sure, so he went over to his left a little bit, but it went to his right and able to come up with the ball cleanly, and the good speed from Gilmore enabled him to beat it out.
That is the second weird hit ball we've seen. Here is Bill Hammonds.
Bill 0 for 1 today, another strikeout victim back in that 2nd inning. Comes in at .379, and Darren, you alluded to it earlier. As far as the hot hitting on this Wrights Panther team, Bill is probably one of the hottest. He's really put together a good postseason so far.
Right fielder Hammonds. Louis Meredith awaits on deck. Wrights again has their first aboard. Like the first when Bullock was hit. They want to keep him tight.
Stolen bases as far as Wrights is concerned, not really a lot. 44 for 57, and you look down there and see exactly who has been successful. Not really one bunch of numbers that really stand out and look like it's presentable. Craig Angles probably has the most with 12. You look at Charlie Gilmore, not really a running threat. He has tried a few stolen bases, been successful a couple times.
Very concerned with Gilmore is Noblet. He's out by 4 steps. And finally, the first here to Hammonds, trying to move him on up. That'll be Hammond's role at this at-bat.
And that's something that we anticipated in seeing in the first game out here between Decatur Central and Seymour. Opportunity with runners in first and second situation, nobody out. They elected not to sacrifice the runners over, and I think that eventually cost Decatur Central the ball game. Maybe it did, maybe it didn't, but the fundamental baseball, you're going to try to move those runners into scoring position as soon as you can.
Hammonds gets the job done. In scoring position, Charles Gilmore, 1 away.
This will bring up shortstop Louis Meredith. Reached on a walk and was left stranded at third back in the second inning. On the season, Louis at 329.
Todd Hayes awaits on deck. He had a single back in that second. Scoreless here in the bottom half of the fourth, scheduled for 7. Still can't get over that 14-inning game we saw earlier out here today.
Well, everybody was just waiting and waiting for something to happen, and they eventually tied it up 3-3 about the 6th inning, and it was pretty much a pitching duel after that. A couple walks, a couple base hits, but nobody seemed to want to win the ball game or were unsuccessful when they tried to advance the runners. After a while, it just gets so tiring for the players to be down there 14 innings. That should have an effect on tonight's game. Seymour will be emotionally drained. They've been out on the ball time in a long time today in that heat. I'm sure they're somewhere in the air conditioning right now just trying to rest and relax and try to get some of that energy back for tonight's game.
2-0 here to Meredith. Gilmore out by about 4 steps down at second. And again on the outside. This is where Noblet poses the big question mark. Does well for a while, then falls into a 5 or 6 pitch slump.
Well, we've seen him lose a little bit of concentration as far as his control and his location of pitches. He walked Louis on 4 pitches back in the second inning. Now he's worked the count to 3-0. A good possibility he might do it here again. If you're Louis, you're going to sit there, you're going to wait for a pitch. Make sure he comes in with a strike. Even if you've got a 3-1 count, you might take another pitch.
I would probably take one more. 3-1.
Well, I'm sure that Coach Johnson, as well as Louis, has confidence in himself as far as being able to come up with the big hit. You've got Gilmore down at second base in scoring position, only 1 out. Look for a certain pitch right around a certain area of the zone.
3-2, all of a sudden. And like a Fetcher or a Wiggins, he comes right back. Andy Noblet.
You know they got to be good pitchers to get their teams here to this part of the season. Postseason play is always important, and you have to have a leader out there like that. Andy has done a good job, as well as Mike today, coming back with the quality pitches once he falls behind in the count.
That is strikeout number 7 for Noblet. Todd Hayes. He can grab another base hit. And with Gilmore's speed, Wrights would jump on top first. You just have a feeling it ain't going to take too much as far as runs to win this one.
We're not going to see an outburst of offense. That is almost guaranteed. Right now we look at the scoreboard, only 1 hit so far by Jasper, 2 for Wrights.
Scott Rowland goes to Scott Kunkel. So Wrights leaves another, a total of 4 now on this afternoon. We've played 4 complete and we're still scoreless. We're back out to Bosse Field, the 1991 semi-state on TV 52. Struck out the last 3 he faced, struck out the side in that 4th inning. Batters 7, 8, and 9. Wiseman, Rowland, and Chris Hemsel here in the top half of the 5th inning. Nothing but goose eggs on the board.
And strikeouts are even at 7 apiece. Mike set the order down via the strikeout back in the 2nd inning, and as you mentioned again, the last inning in the 4th. Wiseman, a strikeout victim back in that 2nd inning for the 3rd out. Comes in at 258. He is the DH today for the pitcher, Andy Noblet.
And Rowland, one of two in the lineup, having second year. Todd Rowland and Scott Rowland. So far defensively, the word that describes this game. Wiseman.
It's really good to see a lot of fan support out here too. We expected a big crowd, semi-state, especially with an Evansville team. Also Jasper not really that far away. Decatur Central and Seymour also brought their fans. They were here for a long time, 14 innings worth. I think the total time on the first game was 4 hours and 21 minutes. So it was kind of a wait and see what happened. The Wrights Panther fans were here early. They kind of stayed around, saw a good ball game, and it's something like that. It's really a shame that one team had to lose. They both played such a good ball game.
Fetcher looking to strike out 4 in a row. It's 0-2 here to Wiseman. We've got a lot of K's on this page. Flip it over and there's 7 more. 0-2, got him. Little drop ball here. So Hayes, the routine, better hurry up down to Gilmore. Sometimes you're too nonchalant.
He heard you.
Come on, Todd.
That'll bring out the right fielder, Todd Rowland. He is 1 for 1 today. He's picked up a single back in the first inning, went to second on an error, was left stranded at third.
Fetcher is hot right now. Now 4 in a row, 8 on the day.
As he retired the last 6 he has faced, 4 of those, as you mentioned, via the K. He got a pop out to the second baseman, Corey Lamb, back in the third inning, and a ground out to Dennis Maynard to get out of that third inning, and then has gone strikeout, 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 and strikeout.
Nice pitch again. Almost a treat to watch.
Well, we've had a pretty good assortment of good games on TV this year via either the good offense or the good pitching. We've seen a little bit of everything.
Gilmore wants to take this himself. It's good to have a speedy first baseman also. We had that in Brad Smith over at the U of E.
And even though Mike was over there, he might have been a little bit late covering. That was the reason Charles decided to take it to himself. If you think you can get there, don't risk throwing the ball away. Take it yourself, and he used his speed to beat the runner Rollin out.
2 away. Chris Himsel, batter number 9.
Chris 0 for 1 today. He advanced the runner Rollin from second to third base back in the third inning. A little bunt out in front of home plate. A good play by the catcher Todd Hayes to get him at first.
Hamlin awaits on deck, but again 2 away. We're in the top half of the 5th inning. And they get a nice pitch from Fetcher, just a bit low. 6 o'clock tonight, championship game of this particular semi-state. Someone's going to Indianapolis.
And I believe we're going to have about as much time between our televised games as we will out here because of the long game before. There's not going to be a lot of time for these two teams in between the games.
1-2. Looking for strikeout number 9. Pick up 2 more here. Got him. Another looking. That is the 3rd he's caught looking. We go to the bottom half of the 5th, and still scoreless. It's Wrights and Jasper, the 1991 semi-state. Who will get to Seymour? It continues after this timeout. Here's Dennis Maynard, Kevin Bullock. That is 8, 9, and 1, bottom half of the 5th inning, alongside Doug Emick. I'm Darren Smith. And the hits, not a plenty. The strikeouts, all over the place.
Major strikeouts, and we kind of anticipated that, especially from Fetcher coming in. Noblet had the numbers, not quite as impressive as Mike's, but when you look at his record, 6-1 and the 1.63 ERA, you knew he was going to be a tough pitcher. Not allowed a lot of base hits in his 51 in the 3rd innings of work, so it's going to be a pitching duo. We anticipated that coming in. Neither one have really let us down so far. This has been a problem in the lineup sometimes in this Wrights ball club. You get down to the bottom of the lineup, it seems like they know when to come through with the big base hits. So far today, not a problem for Noblet and Jasper.
Well, Maynard, who had struggled on and off all season, hit the ball very well last week in Rockport. Not bad either with Livers. He takes a look at ball 1 from Noblet. Scoreless game. Scheduled for 7, bottom of the 5.
And it makes an umpire's job so much easier whenever you have a classic matchup like this. Two good pitchers, you know most of the time they're going to be right around the plate with their strikes. Easy to call a good game because most of the time the pitches are strikes.
Have you ever been involved in a 4.5-hour game, Doug, as an umpire?
No, I've had some 3+ hours, but I've never been out there for 4 hours.
The 1-2 pitch saved it. It was funny because in between games they said there'd be no pass-outs, and I was thinking maybe the umpires would pass out, but they were talking tickets.
The home plate umpire in the first game had a little bit of trouble with the heat. He ended up going out, Stephen Fisher, about the 11th inning. They had to do a little switch to where they went from a 4-man crew to a 3-man crew. The umpire that was at third base, Dave Cavanaugh, came in and ended up working the final 2 or 3 innings behind the plate.
2 balls, 2 strikes here to Livers. And the DH role today for Fetcher. And on the outside corner, 3-2. So again, Wrights. Jasper didn't like that. Wrights is trying to bring the lead off again on. Maynard awaits on deck again.
Well, so far in their first 4 at-bats, they have had the leadoff batter on twice, back in the first inning and last inning in the 4th.
Again, this could be tough. A little scoop there by Kunkel. 1 away.
Bring up third baseman Dennis Mader, to strikeout victim back in the 3rd inning. He's kind of been in and out of the offensive lineup. His defense has been there most of the year for Coach Johnston. He's kind of inserted him every now and then as far as offense is concerned. Struggled a little bit. On the season, he's got a total of 43 at-bats. When you look down the lineup, that is probably one of the lowest as far as the starting lineup is concerned today. 9 hits and 43 at-bats, 3 doubles, a triple, and 3 RBIs.
Bit high here to Maynard.
He's kind of similar to a Brad Smith, where he's not really in there so much for his offense, for his defense. That is what keeps him in the lineup, and he is pretty good third baseman. We've seen him have a couple bad games during the season, but that kind of alluded to earlier. When you play so many games, you're not going to be able to go out and have a good game every game you play.
1-1 here to Maynard. Bullock now on deck. There's 1 away. We're in the bottom half of the 5th inning. And this one, a nice hard hit shot to left field. Jay Hamlin, and that's what we saw in Rockport from Mr. Maynard.
Anytime you can get a base hit like that out of your number 9 hitter, it's going to be that much more an advantage to your ball club. It might be a little enthusiasm booster. You can see, well, he's going out, he can hit the ball. That means we can hit the ball. It's kind of an advantage to have someone like that that can come in, get a big base hit when things are not really going your way. A good job so far by Noblet on the mound, shutting down this Wrights lineup. But Dennis comes up, gets a big base hit. Wrights has got a runner on first base, and now we're to the top of the lineup. A good time to get something going.
Okay, Bullock angle Lamb. 1 away. Fouled back, strike 1.
Kevin 0 for 1 today, reached base by a hit pitch back in the 1st inning and a strikeout victim back in the 3rd inning. And anytime you're going to see pitching caliber like this, a Noblet and a Fetcher, you're going to go through the stats. You're always going to have somebody that's got 1 or 2 strikeouts, and it's not anything against the hitters. It's just that the pitching is so tough, it's sometimes hard to figure out exactly what type of pitches to look for in certain situations.
One thing Steve Johnson alluded to at the top of the broadcast during our coaches show is that there's been a different hero every game for the past couple of weeks. Of course, it was Scott Hart in that game against Candleton.
And he must have put on one heck of a show.
Best pitching I've seen from him all year. 0-2, and he went for a bad pitch. He was upset with himself with that one.
Well, when you get a pitcher like Noblet on the mound and you're a hitter, you really have to look for a certain type of pitch. He's got a repertoire like a fastball and a couple off-speed pitches. Once he gets a hit on the count like that, 0-2, you kind of have to guess what is he going to be coming in for. You have to really look for the fastball, because if you're looking for some type of breaking pitch and he fools you with the fastball, you don't have enough time to get the bat around. And you don't be such an anxious hitter up there. Kind of lay back and wait to see what happens. Anything that's around the strike zone, you have to look at the hit. If it's away out of the strike zone, you have to maintain yourself a little composure and try to hold back.
Lamb awaits on deck again. There's 2 away. Hit and run on. Nice hit ball. Nice stop there by Rowland. No play. 1st and 2nd for the Wrights Panthers.
Once again, we see the good range from Scott down there at shortstop. We saw it earlier where he fielded an infield hit, threw the ball away for an error, and able to angle to reach second base back in the third inning. Another good job of getting to the ball, went down on his belly, fielded it cleanly, but did the smart thing. He knew he didn't have a play. Maynard was off with the pitch. There was no play at second. No chance at all to get Craig Engel at first.
Corey Lamb, the second baseman, struck out, went down 4 of 3. That's Warner to Kunkel, back in the third. So with 2 away, 2 on. White is left 4 through 4. Charles Gilmore now on deck. Nice to get Lamb on here.
Be nice to get a base hit. You got 2 outs, so the guys are going to be off with the crack of the bat. Anything into the outfield will score. Dennis Maynard from second base. If it's hit deep enough or to the right side of the field out in the outfield, look for Craig Engel to move to third.
Firing that one back. You know, Noblett and Fitcher are really pitching well.
Kind of the same scenario we saw in the first game out here. Not really as domination in the first game here as the second game. Not the number of strikeouts were not quite as great, but anytime you get a caliber of this type of matchup, it's kind of like a Gooden faces and Clemens. You know you're going to get the strikeouts from your pitchers. They're also going to have a little trouble with location every now and then. And I think the heat will become a factor. Also the location of pitches and the number of pitches they throw.
1 ball, 2 strikes to Corey Lamb. Base hit should score. Maynard down at second. You're 1-2. It bounces once before it hits Himsel.
That's a good play by Chris behind the plate. As a catcher, you want to try to knock everything down. You don't have to catch it, just keep it in front of you, especially when you've got a runner at second base. If it gets past you, he's going to move up to third, where he's just 90 feet away and could possibly score on another wild pitch or a pass ball.
2-2. And it's a chopper down to the first baseman. He bobbled it just a bit, and now it's a foot race to the bag, and Kunkel gets there first, so Wrights leaves 2 more. Now a total of 6, and we have played 5 complete, and we are still scoreless. Back out to Bosse Field after this timeout. Top of the order in top of the 6th inning, Jay Hamlin, Ryan Siddell, and Scott Rowland. But Mike Fitcher, as mentioned, has been pitching very, very well, as has Noblett.
Well, you look at Mike's pitches through his first 5 innings of work. He's thrown a total of 64 pitches. You turn the page, Andy has thrown a total of 77. Strikeouts have been there. We knew to expect that. So far, Mike has got a total of 9 strikeouts. Picked up 3 back in the 4th inning, 2 back in the 5th inning. But this is a part of the lineup. If you're Jasper, you're going to get something going. And if you're right, you've got to be concerned with it. You've got Hamlin, Siddell, and Rowland up there, 1, 2, 3, and you look at their averages, they have come through most of the time this season for Jasper.
Terry Govert goes back to his place in the third base side. His team 15 and 16, but again, you know the story with that, with the ineligible player.
Terry is a really fun person to be around. He's a good coach. He's similar to Coach Johnson. He's going to cut up and kid around you with the time right. And whenever the baseball season starts, look for him to be competitive. He's not one of those coaches that come out and really start hollering and screaming unless he really has a good point. And he is the type of coach that when he has a question about a certain play or a certain call, he will come out in a gentlemanlike fashion and just ask you, what did you see or what happened? I saw this. Tell me what you saw. So he is fun to work with. Really had a good time up at that Jasper Regional last week. Getting ahead of myself.
1-1 on the outside. It's 2-1 here to Jay Hamlin. He's looking for strikeout number 10, Fetcher. And a big 2-1. Taken down here. A little scoop there by Corey Lamb. A little bobble there, but Lamb goes to Gilmore. Not in time. Was there to Gilmore, but a little drop.
Well, Corey did a good job again just getting to the ball and knocking it down. It kind of was hit so hard that it hit his glove and popped out. Had to find the ball once again, and we saw a good speed there from Hamlin, enabling him to get down to first base in a hurry. Took a good strong throw, just not able to hold on down there was Charles Gilmore at first.
See if they can double it up. They're looking for their first double play of the afternoon. Now's a good time. Ryan Siddell went down 6-3, and then a questionable catch by Corey Lamb back in the third. Scott Rowland on deck. So the lead is on. First time they've had that since the third inning. Here we are in the top half of the 6th.
And we saw Mike go to first base right there. Two reasons for that. One was obviously to keep Hamlin at first. Also to see if Ryan here scored around the bunt. Probably a sacrifice situation. You've got a runner on first base. Move him up to second with nobody out. A good opportunity for Jasper maybe to pick up a run here. But he has not shown bunt yet. We see third baseman Dennis Maynard playing in, expecting a bunt.
The way this game is going, it's almost equivalent to a sudden death overtime. You have a feeling that one run is going to be it.
The way both pitchers are throwing today, very few runs are expected to be scored, and it's been that way so far. Goose eggs as far as the runs scored so far through the first 5.
Runner goes to take a shot at him down at second. He's going to get there in plenty of time. Nice run by Jay Hamlin of Jasper.
Well, that's his second stolen base on the afternoon. Coming in, he was 7 for 8, so Jasper, another team that does not really run a whole lot. Overall, 46 for 52, which works out to about 88% success. But he has gotten such a good jump both times, not really a chance at all for catcher Todd Hayes to have a chance down at second.
Another tough situation. Now Stedell becomes your main concern. That is a big stolen base.
And don't count Jasper out here. They might even sacrifice Hamlin over to third.
They'd be looking awful good if they could do that.
Although when you got your number 2 hitter hitting at 386, you want to let him hit if at all possible, but the way runs are being not scored today, you want to take advantage of an opportunity if you can, anytime you can.
A bit high. 2 balls, 1 strike. Fetcher cannot let him get himself concerned with what's down at second. Well, the situation. Nobody out, 1 on, and it's in scoring position. Trouble here with a 2-1. The sack is going to work. You have to go to first. Gilmore there in time. It looked like Stedell tried to knock the ball out of Gilmore's hand.
Well, it was a pretty good bunt. I mean, it was up the first base line, off the first base line, so it had to be a decision whether Mike was going to come off the mound and field it, and Charlie was going to stay at the bag, or Mike would have gone to the bag and Charlie fielded it. As a runner, you're just going down to the bag. You've got a certain running lane that starts at 45 feet down to first base. You have to stay in that lane running to first base, and sometimes there are collisions that occur at first base, not necessarily meaning that they're trying to knock the ball out, but Charlie was going for the ball. Ryan Stedell was going for the bag, so that's a collision, not really any type of call as far as interference or anything.
Closest Jasper's been since the third when they had Todd Rowland 90 feet away. Need one of those familiar strikeouts now, Mike.
Good opportunity to do it here, but you've got the number 3 hitter and Scott Dew up. He is 0 for 1 today. Drew a walk back in the first inning and grounded out Maynard to Gilmore back in the third.
He should get the job done. That is very much trouble. First run of the ball game is going to score. Play here at the plate, not in time. Jasper leads 1-0.
That's kind of just a fluke base hit right there. He did a good job of getting the ball up in the air into the outfield where you've got a sacrifice fly possibility. But it was hit so shallow that Bill Hammonds could not get a good jump on the ball. The runner at third base, Hamlin, had to wait to make sure that the ball was not caught. As soon as he saw it hit the ground, he broke for the plate. Hammonds came up throwing. Rice was really lucky that the hitter Scott Rowland did not go to second base on the throw, which came all the way to the plate.
It's late in the ball game. We're in the 6th inning. Jason Tabor for a second time came in for Wibbles. 1 out, 1 on, 1 in.
And 1-0.
Now by a couple of steps there is Rowland. Right now he's the hero. That's foul. Seymour is already there. We'll get a chance to see them at 6 o'clock tonight.
And Rice really cannot worry so much about that 1 run crossing the plate right now. They still got 2 more bats coming up in the bottom half of the 6th. They've got the meat of the order, 4, 5, and 6 due up. So the possibility for them to score more runs there is just as good as Jasper's job right here.
Kevin Werner is on deck for Jasper. I'm trying to sack over, and down here at first. See you later. Big out.
A big out and a very poor job of base running down there by Rowland at first base. It was not really a button run situation because he was not off with the pitch. As a base runner, you want to try to stay as close to first base as you can, still be able to get a good jump if the ball should be laid down. Tabor tried unsuccessful, got a second strike, and a good throw from Hayes. Gilmore was in the right position, a perfect throw, and they got him going back into first.
Big out. See if we can end it on a K. Right back up the middle. Some damage was done here. The first to strike on the scoreboard, the Jasper Wildcats. After 5 1/2, they lead by a score of 1-0. Coming up for rights, Gilmore, Hammonds, and Meredith. Bottom half of the 6th next on TV 52. Bottom half of the 6th inning, and now we're trailing by a score of 1-0. As mentioned, Charles Gilmore, Bill Hammonds, and Louis Meredith, like the second and like the fourth, it begins that way.
Charlie 0 for 2 today has reached on an error back in the 4th inning when he battled Nobble to a 3-2 count, fouled off about 4 or 5 pitches, where he worked his pitches up. Through the first 5 innings, Andy's thrown a total of 77 pitches, and what an outstanding play there by Jason Tabor.
Incredible by Tabor down at the hot corner. He robbed Gilmore of an inning-leading base hit.
Well, it seemed like that run kind of pumped Jasper up a little bit. Hopefully that will do the same for Wrights. They came out of that only allowing 1 run to cross the plate, so maybe that will be a little momentum booster. Bill Hammond's the batter now 0 for 1 today. Had a sacrifice bunt situation back in the 4th inning when he moved Gilmore, had reached on the air up to second base. However, he was left stranded there.
Louis Meredith on deck. Hammonds has done so well. On the outside, we're 1-1. What a play by Tabor. You have to wonder if Hamlin, who started there, would have had that one.
Great defensive play, and when you get this far, you expect that from your defense. Sometimes you're going to make some miscues. We've seen 5 errors so far this afternoon. Jasper's committed 3, Wrights 2. But when the nitty-gritty hits, look for this defense to really come up with some big plays like we saw right there from Tabor.
2-1 pitch, fouled back, 2-2. You got Meredith and you got Hayes. Just waiting for something to happen on the Wrights Panther bats. The 2-2. Got it.
They love their baseball at Jasper, and we can get a good idea from the fan support that they brought down from Jasper. Every time a strikeout is registered by Noblet, when they scored that run, we hear an eruption almost like it is their home ball game. They've brought a pretty good crowd with them down about an hour or so from Evansville. Shortstop Louis Meredith up now 0 for 1. He reached on a walk, was left stranded at third back in the 2nd inning.
That last strikeout number 9 for Noblet. So Meredith will try to get it going with 2 away. And the first to him, and a big cut there by Louis. The way Hayes has been hitting lately, really, really nice to get Meredith on some way. You're 0-1. But Hayes would lead off the very crucial bottom half of the 7th.
Even though he has not put together a good offensive season this year, most of the Wrights fans know that when the crucial time comes and it's crunch time, Todd Hayes will come through with the big base hits. And Wrights is going to need that to start off the bottom half of the 7th.
3 up, 3 down, back after this timeout. Top half of the 7th inning, 1 run separating these 2 ball clubs. Jasper on top by a score of 1-0. They'll bring up Werner, Kunkel, and Wiseman.
And regardless if you're a Wrights fan or a Jasper fan, this is the type of ball games you like to see. Good pitching, good defense, not really a whole lot of offense. We've only got a total of 6 base hits on the board. But Jasper leads where it's important with that big 1 run back in the 6th inning. Top of the 7th now, we've got 5, 6, and 7 to up for the Wildcats. Werner, Kunkel, and Wiseman. Kevin Werner, the second baseman, 0 for 2 today, a strikeout victim twice.
The first, it looked like it could have hit him. Hit the dirt instead. Well, he's had all these guys' numbers. Look at all the K's around this area. 1-0 here to Kevin Werner. If you're looking ahead, Hayes, Livers, and Maynard, 7, 8, and 9 due up for the Wrights Panthers.
And through the first 6 innings of work, Mike Fetcher has picked up a total of 9 strikeouts, thrown 76 pitches, so he has really settled down after that rocky first inning. Even though Jasper scored a run an inning ago, still strong. Look for him to come back with some big pitches here, even though he's fallen behind now 2-1.
Again, a weird hit. After it touched the dirt, just deflected off somewhere. 3-1 now from Fetcher.
And this is the part of the lineup that Mike wants to get up there. He has not had any problem. He's shut him down all on strikeouts the 2 times he's faced each of the next 3 batters.
Count is full. Well, he's had Werner twice before. 3 in a row. Well, it's foul here on the third base side. Breeze continues towards left field. 415 straightaway center, 315 down the lines, 375 power alleys. 3-2 pitch, just a bit low.
And that's Mike's 3rd walk that he has given up so far this afternoon, so his control has not really been a whole lot of a problem. A 1-run scoring an inning ago after an error between the ball hit down between second base and Charlie Gilmore at first base. They could not come up with the play down there. That enabled Hamlin to reach. He picked up a 2nd stolen base of the afternoon, moved to 3rd on a sacrifice situation, and scored on the base hit by Scott Rowland. This will bring up Scott Kunkel again, 0 for 2 today, strikeout both times.
Roger Getty warming up in the bullpen for the Wrights Panthers, and Doug, he is, in my estimation, the Damon Bailey of baseball.
Well, he had one heck of a year as far as Wrights is concerned. As a freshman to come in and do the job that he has done. His overall record 6-0. He's also picked up a save in that. When you look at his numbers, it is similar to a Mike Fetcher. He's worked in 35 innings of work, picked up 41 strikeouts, and his ERA right around 2.
Pitching middle school last year, and he's had no problem with the big boys.
And I'm sure regardless of what happens here, obviously Wrights would like to win, and we'd like to see them go on to the championship game tonight, eventually to the state championship next weekend up in Indianapolis. But with the job Getty's done all year long, Steve Johnston, coach of Wrights, has to be pleased. He's going to have him for 3 more years.
I asked Brownlee what he thought of Getty, and I got a very big smile out of him. Now they have caught him again. Gilmore had to reach.
Not quite a good throw as the last time, and a good slide by Kevin Warner down there at first base. In fact, he went to the outside of the bag, and it appeared up here that he even came off the bag for an instance, but Charlie was just not able to get the tag down there in time.
Kunkel, as has Wiseman. Got nothing but strikeout all afternoon. Trying to move him on up, just a bit high. Tell you, Warner better watch it.
Well, you don't want to make the first out as a base-running blunder like that. You want to stay close to the bag, but you still want to get a good lead. Now we've got a count of 2-0. We saw Kunkel appear to turn around as just a sacrifice. Jasper is not happy with just that 1 run. They're going to try to get as many more as they can here in the top half of the 7th. Wrights is concerned right now with Mike Fetcher. He's struggling a little bit now with his control. Come in, get a strike. Don't worry about if he's going to bunt or hit away. Try to get that pitch right around the strike zone.
And again, here's his trouble. Oh, we've seen this happen a couple of times. Jasper not swift on the base pads. And down goes Warner. Big out. Out number 1. Meanwhile, you got a 2-0 count to Kunkel.
And that's the way you want to run a rundown situation like that. You want to have as few of throws as possible. We've seen a couple times this year where we've had 5 and 6 throws between players coming in and backing up the play, moving out, coming up next in line. But that went 1-3-6, Fetcher to Gilmore to Louis Meredith, and he just ran him back to first base. You always want to try to return the runner to the base that he came from.
Strike 1. Of course, we'll be seeing these players again next weekend. Some of the Wrights players. Evansville Funkhauser.
We had our first taste of Legion ball the other night, and extra innings, a little bit closer than we maybe expected. Boonville showed they had a good hitting ball club. Pate really came out nonchalant and eventually got the offense going and eventually came out with a big win.
Fetcher, Angle, Hammonds amongst those going from the Panther team. And one fouled back. And like Jerry Steckler, Mac LaRue has his boys primed for the 91 summer.
Well, we talked a little bit about it the other night that it should be a good battle when those two meet next weekend on a Sunday. We'll rebroadcast those games on Monday. But that's probably the most fun you can have with a rivalry. I mean, you've got guys that play against each other all year long as far as high school baseball is concerned, but they really want to beat the opposing team.
2 away, 5-3. Nice grab by Maynard. And there's 2 away. And as we look to the bottom half of the 7th inning, it's Hayes, Livers, and Maynard. Don't forget Livers at DH. Not that it would matter, you could re-enter, but Johnson has some thinking to do, and I'm sure he's doing that right now.
This is Brent Wiseman, the DH for Jasper, 0 for 2 today, as we alluded to earlier. All 3 hitters that Mike Fetcher has faced this inning have been strikeout victims both times to the plate. Wiseman went down back in the 2nd and again in the 5th.
Incidentally, those Legion games we'll be covering, you can get on a schedule out here at the concession stands at Bosse Field. We've got about a dozen in the regular season and probably another dozen or so in the postseason.
Well, we're going to cover all of the aspects as far as the tournament's concerned around here in the southern part of the state. We're going to have the section on the regional, which will be played at Boonville, and also the state tournament, which will be right here at Bosse Field.
0-2. Wiseman has struck out twice before. And for a 3rd time, well, he fouls that one off. Rolling on deck. Seymour waiting in the wings. Championship game, you'll see that tonight on TV52 at 6 o'clock.
I bet those kids are exhausted.
Tired.
Man, man.
Got him. And so now, we just hold our breath, cross our fingers, and hope for the best. One last call for the Wrights Panthers. We go to the bottom half of the 7th next on TV52. Your season goals, one of them is to win sectional, and if you can go further than that, that would just be great. It's come down to this, Doug Emmett. We're down 1-0. We're in the bottom half of the 7th inning, and here comes Todd Hayes.
7, 8, and 9 due up here for Wrights. Todd Hayes 1 for 2 today, picked up a single back in the 2nd inning. And if you're Wrights, this is do or die time right here. You have to get something going. Noddle has been in control, much as Mike Fetcher has for Wrights. Through his first 6 innings of work, has pitched a total of 86 pitches. Total of 9 strikeouts, so he has been in control, much like Mike has. Jasper just able to put that 1 run on the board back in the 6th inning.
First 2 are balls from Noblet. You figure that Noblet's not going to give Hayes too much. He remembers him from a couple innings ago.
And when you get down to this part of the lineup, you can maybe allude to an intentional, unintentional walk, where you really don't give him anything good to hit. You know he's capable of getting a big base hit like he did back in the 2nd inning. You've got 8 and 9 due up next. More times than not, that is the part of the lineup that you're going to struggle with as far as your offense is concerned. But we saw Maynard come up with a big base hit in the 5th.
Base hit will help things. There's your tying run aboard at first. Big turn by Todd Hayes.
And this Rice team has been through so much this year, they know they cannot give up with one another. We're going to see a pinch hitter now for Sean Livers. It'll be Scotty Hart coming up. But they know as a team they are going to come together when it's do or die time. More times than not, they have come through with some big base hits. They have put together 12 wins in their last 15 games. One heck of a postseason so far. This is just going to be a little bit much more confidence builder right now. Bottom of the 7th inning, you got your leadoff guy on. Now you've got Scotty Hart coming up.
I think his job is to just move over Todd Hayes and hope for another great shot by Maynard.
And Scott on the season, similar to Dennis Maynard, not a lot of at-bats when you look at his numbers. 14 hits and 59 at-bats, 237. He's come up with 3 doubles, a triple, and also 7 RBIs. But just like you said, Darren, probably a sacrifice situation here. We see the third baseman, Jason Tabor, playing well in for Jasper. If Scott's going to do anything, look for him to maybe go down the first or third base side.
If he gets the job done, he did. And Gilmore, or rather Hayes, in trouble here. That really hurts. That really hurts.
Well, it was kind of a thing that you want to try to avoid if possible. Todd was aggressive on the base paths. He rounded second. He saw nobody was covering third. He thought about going, and then his feet kind of gave within underneath him, and he went to the ground. A good play by the first baseman, Scott Kunkel. He saw he was on the ground, not really any place to go. Probably the best bet would have been to go back into second, but he was probably a dead duck whichever way he went.
Dennis Maynard. A big base hit back in the fifth. Lights down to their final out here in the 91 season. They trail by a score of 1-0. Upstairs, ball one. Kevin Bullock hoping to get a shot at it. Wrights entered 20-12. Beat Mater Dei to win the sectional. Before that, a big win over Central. Princeton and Candleton went down last week. There is strike one. 1-1.
And it's not over until it's over, so you can't really give up yet on Wrights. We saw Dennis come up with that big base hit back in the fifth inning, and we looked at another chance here. It finds the hole, so this team is not dead yet.
Guess what would have happened if Hayes was safe at second? Who would have been tied?
Well,
and I'm not saying that against Hayes. That's the way baseball goes, but let's do it again here.
If ifs and buts were candies and nuts, we'd all have a Merry Christmas.
That's funny.
Kevin Bullock, 0 for 2 today, reached first base, being hit by a pitch back in the first inning. Has not really done a whole lot as far as his offense is concerned since then, but the top of the lineup, he's been one of the big key players all season long. Came into this afternoon's game at 337, and as we said earlier, this Wrights team just does not give up.
The first is a ball. He would really like a walk. He just move one down in scoring position. Craig Angle on deck now, hoping to get a shot. And Dennis Maynard, what a postseason he's had also, as far as the bat is concerned. Much better than that of a regular season. We knew he could do it.
Well, his defense was there early part of the season, and he struggled a little bit. But Coach Johnson had enough confidence in him, I'm sure. In the scrimmage games, practices during the middle of the week, he saw that Dennis was maybe coming around again with his stick, and he's put him in the lineup and has gone 2 for 3 this afternoon.
1 ball, 1 strike, made it out by 3 steps at first. And here's your 1-1 pitch, a little high chopper here. They go over to first, takes him off the bag, and he's safe. First and second. So it's not over yet.
Wow.
Woo!
Well, we said this Rice team just does not give up. That ball was hit not real sharply, but it was a one bouncer to third baseman Jason Tabor. Had all the time in the world to make the throw to first baseman Scott Kunkel. The throw was wide, pulling Kunkel off the bag. Probably the best time you want to slide into first base is in a play just like that. When it pulls the first baseman off, he's going to have to sweep, try to tag you with the ball in his glove, and he was just able to get the tag. A good job by Bullock sliding underneath there. So now we've got first and second, 2 out. Craig Angle up 2 for 3 today. Another good job so far from the offense from Wrights in the key situations. Good opportunity right here.
Angle. And here again on the outside. Shaking like a leaf, Doug.
Well, this is nitty-gritty time, nail-biting time, call it what you want, but this is the ball game right here. They're down 1-0. This is a chance for them to get back into this ball game. 2 men out, runners at first and second. If you're going to do it, you got to do it now.
That one gets by. Going to move the base runners up now, second and third. And now Dennis Maynard, the tying run, 90 feet away.
And we saw some similar situations to this in the first game between Decatur Central and Seymour, where they had runners at second and third. You might see Jasper here go with an intentional walk. That runner at the plate right now in Craig Angle does not mean anything. The runner at second base, Kevin Bullock, is the winning run, so they might put him on base. That way you've got a force out at any base.
Doug, you and I have covered about, 60 games now since we began our baseball broadcast schedule. Does it get any more exciting than this?
Well, I would have to say probably the best game we've had so far was the Aces win with the big shot from Marty Watson in extra innings.
If Wrights can pull this off, we have a new winner in that category.
Yes, definitely.
What do you think's going through the mind of Craig Angle? We're watching him pacing back and forth.
Well, you really have to look for one type of pitch. You've got runners at second and third. You've got 2 men out. The runner at second base, as I mentioned, Kevin Bullock, is the winning run. If you can get Dennis Maynard in, that will tie the score. But you want to try to get something up in the air out of the infielder's reach.
1-1. Pitch here to Angle. It's upstairs, and if it's caught, it's it. Over is Tabor. Wind blows around, and that is the ball game.
Well, a gutsy performance from the Wrights Panthers. They were down 1-0 coming in. They had some opportunities. They really came back, got the big base hits when they needed them. Costly error from Jasper's third baseman, Jason Tabor, but it did not really affect the outcome of the game. Once again, you look back at the numbers. Great pitching job from both pitchers. Mike Fetcher, another tough luck loss. Andy Noblet, pretty much the same thing. They did the job they had to do. Wrights was just a little bit short on the scoring end.
It's often said and always repeated, nothing to hang your heads about. The Wrights Panthers did a darn good job representing the city last week in Rockport and came awful close to going to the championship game. Later on tonight, it'll be Jasper and Seymour. The Wrights Panthers will finish their season 20-13. And what a year it was for the Panthers, Doug.
Well, we said after the sectional that whoever wins the sectional, either Wrights or Mater Dei championship night, would represent the city teams rather well in the regional. Not sure that really anybody expected Wrights to put such a postseason together like they did, but like you said, Darren, nothing really to hang your head about. A tough luck loss. It could have gone either way. Mike Fetcher again pitching an excellent game. Also Andy Noblet for Jasper. Just not enough from the offensive end from Wrights to come up with the win.
Final score, Jasper 1, Wrights nothing. We'll wrap it up for this portion after this timeout. Steve, the old cliche, someone has to win, someone has to lose. You had a feeling it was going to be decided this way. Only 1 run separating the two today.
Well, I think everybody realized, if watching the first game, how close these ball games have been, how close our tournament games have been. I was still optimistic in the latter innings that we were going to get a big hit, and kept kind of playing for that. And so maybe, and we missed some opportunities early. There's no first inning we didn't execute. And, you know, you never know what a difference that's going to make if you can get a couple runs on the board early. Mike Fetcher pitched a heck of a ball game, quite possibly the best game he's thrown all year, and in a pressure situation. I thought, you know, again, I can't fault anything in particular. We did break down in the 1 inning where they scored a run with an error in there, but our kids played hard and we played aggressive, and I don't know how else to summarize that one. We didn't score a run, and it's hard to win.
You lose a lot as far as seniority, starting with Fetcher, but there's some other quality names on this club. Outstanding gentlemen.
Well, that's exactly right. And you know, Charlie Gilmore at first has had a great year offensively for us the last 2 years, and has just done a super job. Quite possibly, again, you recognize being the best first baseman in town, and I agree with that. Louis Meredith has been a 3-year starter. Louis has done a heck of a job and has really bounced back and given us a great year offensively. Denny Maynard has done a great job at third all year and got a couple big hits today. You know, kind of looking at the bottom of the order where we should make some changes, and we'll let him swing the last time, and he came through for us, and that's kind of exactly what the kids have done. Bullock and Hayes behind the plate have given us super leadership, and it's going to be tough, obviously, to lose those two kids. Joey Pettigene is a kid, kind of unsung hero, though. He's the kid that's out throwing batting practice to those guys and making them better all the time, and unfortunately Joey didn't get any playing time today, but has done a great job all year. Scott Hart, I mean, a perfect success story, I think. A kid who's really come back from some personal adversity in his family and his life. Just a tremendous senior year for us. There's nothing I could ask that kid to do that he hasn't done for us this year. So, as I told the kids, the last thing I told the underclassmen, I appreciated the seniors, and they've given us a great example for the rest of those kids in the dugout and for the rest of the kids that are playing for Wrights baseball.
I guess a blight from 1991 to get this far individually, Roger Gettig.
Well, yeah, absolutely. You know, and the thing there too that we'll try to emphasize, and I think what made us successful the second half is we didn't highlight 1 or 2 individual players. We tried to emphasize it was going to take teamwork and team cooperation. That is a good starting point, though, and I recognize that, and he's got a great deal of talent. At the same time, our JV squad was 14-6, and we think we've got some good kids coming, and the seniors have shown us how to win, and so now we think we've got the talent that maybe we can stay here for a while.
Steve, we saw Wrights a lot on television this year. Our first year televising the games. We had fun, and we'll talk to you again maybe this summer and definitely next season.
Okay, appreciate your support all year, and it's been great for high school baseball. Darren, thanks.
Coach, congratulations on a good season.
Thank you very much.
Okay, Hoops, Steve Johnson and Doug Emig. Kind of sad. You form kind of a family over the past couple of weekends. You follow the fans. You get to know the players really well as we come this far. And, well, like I said, someone's going to win and someone's going to lose.
That is the truth, and I think both Coach Johnston and the players for Wrights realized that coming in, that every win past that sectional win would just be that much more. They knew that it was going to end sometime, either with a loss or maybe even a state championship, but they had such a good year, such a postseason that they put together. No one really expected that from them, and once again, Mike Fetcher, a tough luck loss. Steve alluded to it, probably the best game he pitched all year when you look at the numbers. 9 strikeouts. He only allowed 2 base hits, 3 walks, but a couple defensive miscues behind him, and that enabled Jasper to get that 1 run.
Have to wish the very best to those graduating seniors. Well, they've already graduated. We're in the month of June. We're going to take a couple of hours off and return at 6 o'clock this evening for the 1991 Semi-State Championship. It is the Jasper Wildcats and the Seymour Owls. Again, that game coming up tonight at 6 o'clock. For now, for Doug Emig, I'm Darren Smith. We'll see you at 6.